Hello and welcome. I'm Michael as always. I'm joined by Craig. How we doing, mate?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, long week now, no football, but we've got Derby this weekend and we are joined by Adam from Goalhanger. How we doing, mate?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to Saturday's game between both sides.
Are you actually looking forward to it or not?
Pretty nervous, to be honest. I think for us, in my head, it's 3-8 because I don't think we're going to come away with much, if anything. So, yeah, bit apprehensive, but glad to be going back to teams like Leeds and the bigger clubs in the Championship, obviously, after being back promoted into the division. So, yeah, looking forward to this one.
No worries. Right, we'll get into questions. So, who should we be worried about from Derby? So, all your players, who's like the standout players?
I think this season, the player who stepped up, I would have said Ebu Adams, or probably defensive midfielder. He's all over the pitch whenever he plays. He's a real enforcer, but unfortunately he got booked, so I think he's missing this game on Saturday, which is typical. The player I would have said to watch out for would have been him, but if I had to pick a player at the moment, I'd probably say Jerry Yates. He's our most dangerous player in front of goal, obviously on loan from Swansea, a player who's hit double figures before. Um, and he's meant to be the one who's going to be that sort of clinical striker for us. It's not happened so far this season in terms of being clinical. I think the most obvious one was obviously the last game. We missed about 2 sitters, unfortunately, but he's the player who gets in those positions, and hopefully more often than not, one of them will go in the back of the net. So I'd probably have to say him for when we get forward. But judging on how we're probably going to try and play against Leeds, I would say watch out for our defensive players, our taller players. We've scored more goals from set pieces than open play. So I'd go with Curtis Nelson, the centre back. I think scored our opening goal of the campaign away at Blackburn Rovers from a corner. So he's definitely a player to watch out for from the set pieces, a tall, towering defender. Probably the most technically gifted player we've got would be Kenzo Haldmine, but he's not started the last couple of games. But I think going away to Leeds, we're going to need those more technically gifted players to hold on to the ball. So I would say him. But in terms of the player to watch out for, I'd say Jerry Yates in front of goal. He's probably the one who's going to put the goal in the back of the net for us on Saturday if we do get those opportunities.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jerry Yates. Seen him a couple times last season. Nat Phillips playing for you as well, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's not really starting. If I have to be honest, I've not been too impressed with him really since coming in on loan. I don't think he's looked comfortable much so far this season. He's not played too much at all either. But he does feature off the bench, and if we go with a back five, then he usually slots into that back three
Yeah,
centre
because
backs.
we were looking at him in the summer, I think. Yeah, I think we were looking at him in the summer. Craig, is there anyone from Derby that you like at all?
Yeah, that Jerry Yates is a pretty good player, but what concerns me, or what you were just saying about what was his name again? The towering defender.
Curtis Nelson.
Yeah, so this Curtis Nelson. What he just said about that is what's going to worry me the most, because Leeds set pieces. That's probably a route to 3 points. Is a corner and towering defender.
That'd be the worst nightmare. I mean, Derby's away form isn't great. I mean, we just alluded to it before we started recording. One win away from home. We'll get your score predictions at the end, but who are you worried about from Leeds?
I think probably Willie Nonto comes into my head straight away. I think any team in the Championship fears his ability when he's got the ball at his feet and he's got space to run into. But yeah, it's probably him. I think. I don't know if Patrick Bamford's fit, but he's always had a decent record against Derby County. Obviously, being a player who came to us on loan, gone over a decade ago now, which makes me sound old, even though I'm probably quite young to most people. But yeah, he's always had a good record against Derby. But Willie Nonto for me, if teams are holding the ball against us and creating chances, more often than not, they'll get one clear cut. So yeah, probably Willie Nonto for me.
It's a
No, I
surprise
mean,
that because it's a surprise that because I pretty much slate Willie Onto nearly every week. It's so frustrating. Like, it looks dangerous, and and everything, but he's got his head down too much, and I think he misses more than he actually scores.
I think it's probably the
It's just
highlights as well. Like, as an opposition fan, obviously, I can't say I've watched the 90 minutes of Leeds recently, obviously not being a
yeah,
Leeds fan, but
it's hard.
yeah, it's hard, definitely. But yeah, probably just, obviously, I can only say what I've seen from the highlights, but he obviously looks a dangerous player and he's running in on goal. But yeah, like you say, you'll know more than me.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
can be.
it can be. Yeah, it's so frustrating sometimes though. But yeah, you'll be surprised when you watch his this Saturday. I think when you watch that game, I think you'll be surprised on who can be more dangerous than him.
Yeah, especially who starts as well. So obviously we've got options: James, Ramazani, Solomon, Nonto. So any one of those four or two of the four that play will cause trouble. But if you take Willie Nonto out of it, if you could take one player from Leeds to improve Derby's squad, who would you want the most?
Probably a funny one when researching these teams before, and I would probably say the product of our academy, Jaden Bogle. I think every Derby County fan liked him when he came through our academy and I would say burst onto the scene. But yeah, he was really solid and really exciting down that right hand side for us. I think at the moment the way we play is very wide. We use the width a lot, and I knew Jaden Bogle at the time when he was with Derby, he definitely operated up and down that wing and liked to get forward. So I think that would be a massive benefit to us if we had a player like him at the moment. I think probably our right hand side is stronger than our left, but I know obviously Jaden Bogle operates on the right, but it would be nice to have a player of his ability. I know he's a top end of the Championship player now, so it's hard to come by at Derby to get those players in. But for me, Jaden Bogle, I've seen him go on and improve since leaving Derby, so I would probably say him, being familiar with how he plays.
Yeah, I remember him from his Derby days. I remember him playing against Leeds, and he terrorised us. And a lot of Leeds fans don't like him though. He's starting to grow in a few, but a lot of Leeds fans don't like him. I personally think he's good because the way that we play, it suits our style. But yeah, it's I can understand why you go for him because at Derby were really good, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always good to see other people what they say who they'd like. Because obviously last week we had someone to say Rothwell. Now you said Bogle, and probably out of most Leeds fans, they're the two that wouldn't get mentioned. Obviously, you have like Tanaka, Pirro potentially, Pascal, Rodon, Firpo to an extent, but Rothwell and Bogle will probably be the lower two, in my opinion. So for me, that's really good to hear because I'm a massive fan of Bogle. I think he is quality player, especially what he does, like going forward and back as well. Like even though people say he can't defend, when you actually look at it and watch him, he does get back and he does make tackles and interceptions as well. But yeah, is there any other players that you're concerned about?
Obviously, you mentioned Joel Pirro there. I remember going Swansea away the year we got relegated, and he was just so clinical against us. Obviously, that was in the season when he was probably in his best form in the Championship with Swansea City. I know at Leeds, you want him to be that man who can put the ball in the back of the net each week, being in the position that you are. And I think it will definitely come to that. I think the reason why I didn't say I'd pick him to come into our team was I think we're crying out for a player with maybe a little bit of pace and a clinical finisher, and I'm not sure whether he's hit that yet for Leeds week in, week out. Obviously, I could be completely wrong when saying that. But yeah, definitely Joel Pirro. I know if he's in the right place in the right time, he'll put it in the back of the net more often than not, I would say. But it's just whether he's in them positions for me. That's just judged off the highlights. That's all I can say, really.
Have you not got much pace in your team then?
I wouldn't say. I would say out wide we do, but through the middle, no. I think Jerry Yates does have pace, but the way we play him, he doesn't often get to use it. He's not really had a one-on-one. Obviously, Mendes Lang is probably the player a lot of fans think of at Derby at the moment. The player last season, he was so clinical, even for his age. He can be lightning quick, but I think with him being a year older, he's in the Championship now. I don't think he's as effective as he was last season, but this season he's the top of the assist charts for us. So definitely him. If he gets the ball, I think he can beat anyone in a one-on-one, which is really positive to have. But definitely out wide, we've got pace, but it just depends on the team selection, really. If I'm going to be completely honest, it definitely chops and changes quite a lot, which can frustrate Derby fans quite a lot. But yeah, it definitely just depends on the team selection, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah, because that's gonna. I mean, that's comforting to hear for me, because as a Leeds fan, it's like if your away record's not that great as it stands, and coming to Ellen Road, and then with a team that if you've got no out and out pace to get behind us, that's one of our strengths. So it's if we break forward, and you've got no pace to match that, it's a comforting thing to hear that.
I think if I'm going to be honest,
for us anyway.
I don't know how many times you're going to be breaking forward against us, because I think we're going to be sitting in deep for the 90 minutes, if I'm going to be honest. 10 men behind the ball. If I'm going to be honest, I think we're going to play for set plays against Leeds 100%. We've scored 11 goals from set pieces. I think we've scored the most from set pieces in the Championship this year. So I definitely think we're going to play for them. But I think with Leeds' quality, I'd be worried coming in against us. But we'll have to wait and see. We played some top teams away from home so far this year. Like Sheffield United, we didn't get out of the half in the second half, but it only took a set piece from them to split the two sides. So maybe we could go down that route, but I don't think we're going to be coming out and trying to go toe-to-toe with Leeds in terms of attacking, and I don't think we're going to be pressing you much, if I'm going to be honest. I think we'll play for the counter and try and win some set pieces and see what we can do from there.
Are you a good defensive unit then?
I
think like Nat Phillips.
I think last season we were the best defensive side in League One, and then coming into this season, I can't really remember us shipping too many goals. We've had a couple of clean sheets. We've lost away from home and drew and things like that, but we only really concede 1 or 2, I would say. Obviously, I could say that now, and we could concede 5 goals on Saturday, and that could be blown out of the water. But I think definitely defensively is what we pride ourselves on. I definitely think Paul Warne builds from the back going forward. That's definitely what we try to be, a solid defensive unit, and then think about the goals after.
You're putting me on the fence now, though, because talking like that, it's like, well, if you're quite good defensively, you're going to sit behind the ball, and you're really good at set pieces. That's where Leeds falter. That's your chance to beat Leeds, is sit back, defend, and then grab a set piece.
Yeah, I completely agree. What we're talking about then, seeing now you're worried, Craig, let's go on to some score predictions then before we close this off. Adam, I'll go to you first, mate. Seeing you're the guest here, what would your score prediction be?
I think if I was going to be optimistic, I'd say 2-0 Leeds. I think Derby fans at the minute are a bit unrest. I think Derby fans wish we were playing a little bit better, grinding out results like we can, and been a bit of booing after games, unfortunately. So I'd say a 2-0 loss. I think if we go away to Ellen Road, get something from it, like a point, I'd be more than happy with a 0-0 draw. But a 2-0 loss for me, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think we're going to go there and get much, if anything at all, to be honest, based off our away record so far.
No, so obviously, I know your result last game, you lost in the last minute and only 1 win away. Craig, what are you going to go? Are you going to go for your standard scoreline again, or mixing it up?
No, actually, I've been thinking that this is going to be a bounce back game for us, and I was thinking 3 or 4-0. But the way that he's been talking, I'm thinking, are we going to do a Leeds and let a team beat us for the first time at Ellen Road in the league? But
Second time, mate. We've already lost once. I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, for the last few games, we've already lost one, but I was thinking 3 or 4-0, but I think I'm going to stick by that. I think it'll be a comeback game from a comeback performance from last week, because last week was shocking.
I'm going to go for 3-1. Derby will score from a set piece. Whether or not they'll score first from a set piece, or it'll be like a nervy 2-0 they score, and it's like, oh, great, here we go again, and then we nick it at the end. But 3-1 Leeds. That's my prediction. So hopefully we get 3 points. I know, obviously, for you, Adam, you won it, but I will wish you good luck after this game. Not for this game, though. Adam, where can people find you if they do want to search your socials and your YouTube channel?
It's just Goalhanger on YouTube. Just go under that alias, Derby County Videos Weekly, and then on X or Twitter, it's just Goalhanger and then the letters YT after. And then if it's a Derby County podcast you're after with a preview, then the Rams Talk podcast, which is why I've got this mic muffler on at the moment. So yeah, you can find me there.
Well, thank you for joining, Adam, and Craig. Thank you for joining as always. We'll leave that there. And as always, we are sponsored by PricePot. So go over to the website where you can get your Lucas Rugby signed shirt, and we'll catch you after the Derby game. Thanks for listening, guys.